She was just a 13-year-old girl. Soccer jersey. Seat 4C. A half-eaten granola bar. Nobody on that plane knew her name. But somewhere above California, both pilots went down. 156 people. No one in control. Mountains ahead. 4 minutes left. Then the girl in seat 4C unbuckled her seatbelt. And the most powerful fighter jet in the world called her commander. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Jefferson Middle School, San Diego, California. Assignment: write about someone you admire. Student, Lily Chen, grade 7. Pencil teacher's note in the margin: good opening, Lily. Make sure to introduce your subject clearly. The person I admire most is my best friend Emma Hayes. Emma is 13 years old, just like me. She likes soccer and drawing and granola bars that she never finishes. Last Tuesday we were on a plane together. Something happened on the plane. Emma says I am not allowed to tell anyone. I am telling my English teacher because it is for a grade. Emma is going to be so mad at me. Southwest Airlines Gate B14. San Diego International Airport. 2 girls in matching soccer jerseys walked down the boarding ramp. Both had small yellow tags around their necks. Unaccompanied minor tags. The tags had their names written in black marker. The gate agent looked at them. You two together? Emma looked at the plane. She's going to Sacramento too. Her parents are meeting her there. Lily looked at Emma. Where are your parents? Emma didn't answer right away. She looked at the plane for a second longer. Grandpa's meeting me. They walked on board. Seats 4B and 4C. Emma took the window seat. She pulled out a notebook and started drawing before the seatbelt sign even came on. Lily watched her. What are you drawing? Emma didn't look up. The cockpit. Why? Emma shrugged. Grandpa always says, know your aircraft before you need to. Lily stared at her. That's a really weird thing for a grandpa to say. Emma smiled a little. Kept drawing. Her drawing was very good. Every button. Every dial. Every switch. Exactly where they were supposed to be. Emma is going to be so mad at me. But I think some stories are too important to keep secret. Even if your best friend told you to. Pencil teacher's note, nice details. But let's stay focused on your main point. At school Emma is very quiet. She sits in the back in math class. She is actually really smart, but she does not show off about it. She has a picture of her dad in her locker. Her dad was in the Air Force. He died 2 years ago. Emma does not talk about it. I do not ask. That is what best friends do. Also, Emma can hear things other people cannot hear. Like on the plane, she heard the alarm before anyone else did. I did not hear anything. Emma said, something is wrong, and then 30 seconds later the flight attendant came out of the front of the plane looking like he had seen a ghost. The plane was somewhere over the Inland Empire. A flat, dry part of Southern California. Below them were brown hills and freeways. Above them was nothing but blue sky. Lily was watching a movie with her headphones on. Emma was drawing in her notebook. Then Emma stopped. She took out one headphone. Her head tilted slightly to the side. The way a dog listens when it hears something far away. Lily. Lily did not look up from her movie. Something is wrong. Now Lily looked up. What? The engine sound changed. And the autopilot is working too hard. You can hear it in the vibration. How do you even know what that sounds? The galley door at the front of the plane burst open. Marcus Johnson, the flight attendant, came out. He was 31 years old. He had worked for Southwest Airlines for 7 years. He had seen delays, sick passengers, angry passengers, crying babies, and turbulence over the Rockies. He had never looked like this before. His face was the color of copy paper. Lily turned back to Emma. "Oh." Captain Sandra Williams was slumped over the controls. She had been talking 1 minute before. Laughing about something with First Officer Kevin Park. Then she stopped talking. Then she stopped moving. Stroke. Silent. Fast. Complete. First Officer Park grabbed the radio with shaking hands. LA Center, Southwest 1776, medical emergency, Captain is down, I need. Then the food poisoning that had been building in his stomach for 3 hours hit him all at once. Like a wall falling on him. He got one more word out. Help. Then he went down too. The cockpit was now empty of any conscious pilot. The autopilot screen showed a yellow warning light. Electrical fault. For minutes until the autopilot would shut itself off. Ahead on the radar, the San Bernardino Mountains rose up to 11,500 feet. 9 minutes away on the current heading. Emma heard something wrong before any alarm went off. She had been listening to aircraft sounds since she was 4 years old. Her grandfather taught her. In Sacramento, General Robert Hayes was watching the morning news. He had no idea what his granddaughter was about to do. Pencil teacher's note, Lily, I need you to slow down here. This is moving very fast. Also, is this real? The flight attendant whose name was Marcus asked if anyone could fly a plane. Nobody said anything. Then Emma unbuckled her seatbelt. I said, Emma, what are you doing? She said, Lily, hold my granola bar. I said, Emma, you are 13. She said, I know how old I am, Lily. Then she walked to the front. The old lady in seat 5A stood up and told everyone to sit down and let Emma work. Everyone sat down. I still had the granola bar. I did not know what to do with the granola bar. I still have it actually. I do not know why I kept it. Marcus picked up the cabin intercom. His voice was very controlled. Very careful. The voice of someone who is terrified but is not going to let anyone know that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a request for anyone with aviation experience. Any pilots on board, please make yourselves known immediately. This is urgent. Silence. Someone turned off their movie. A woman in row 8 whispered to her husband. A baby in the back stopped crying, as if it too was listening. The whole plane went very quiet. The kind of quiet that only happens when 156 people are all feeling the same thing at the same time. Fear. Marcus looked down the aisle. His hands were shaking. He put them behind his back so no one could see. 7 years at Southwest Airlines. He had trained for emergencies. He had read the manuals. He had done the simulations. None of the manuals had a chapter called What to Do When Both Pilots Are Down and Nobody on Board Can Fly. He tried again. Anyone, any aviation experience at all, please. A man in row 12 raised his hand slowly. I flew a Cessna once. Marcus looked at him with desperate hope. How many hours? The man thought about it. Like, 3. Marcus closed his eyes. Opened them. He looked down the aisle. In row 4, a girl in a soccer jersey was unbuckling her seatbelt. She was 13 years old. She had an unaccompanied minor tag around her neck. She handed a half-eaten granola bar to the girl sitting next to her. Then she stood up and walked toward the front of the plane. She did not walk fast. She did not walk slow. She walked like someone who had decided something and was now doing it. Marcus held out his hand. Honey, are you? My grandfather is General Robert Hayes. Her voice was calm. Retired commander of NAS Miramar in San Diego. He taught me radio procedures when I was 6. I have 47 hours of flight time in a Piper Cherokee airplane. I know this cockpit layout. I need to see what we are dealing with. Marcus looked at this child. This 13-year-old girl in a soccer jersey with a yellow tag around her neck. She was not shaking. She was not crying. She was not asking for permission in the way children usually ask for permission. She was standing in the aisle of a Boeing 737 at 22,000 feet and she was telling him what she needed. Like a pilot. Like someone who had been waiting, without knowing she was waiting, for exactly this moment. Marcus had a daughter. She was 9. He thought about her for exactly 1 second. Then he stopped thinking about her. He looked at the cockpit door. He looked back at Emma. In all his years of flight training, in all his emergency drills, nobody had ever trained him for this. There was no procedure called trust the 13-year-old. There was no checklist for it. He stepped aside. Dr. Patricia Walsh was 58 years old. Retired Air Force doctor. She was not a pilot. But she had spent 20 years around military people and she knew exactly what she had just heard in that girl's voice. She stood up from seat 5A. She turned and faced the entire cabin. Her voice did not ask. It told. Everyone sit down. Seatbelts on. Let her work. Anyone who stands up will answer to me. Nobody stood up. Emma stepped inside. She stopped. 3 seconds. She looked at everything, left to right, the way her grandfather had taught her. Then she moved. She checked both pilots. Alive. Breathing. Not conscious. She sat down in the left seat. The captain's seat. She moved it all the way forward. Her feet barely touched the rudder pedals. Her grandfather's voice was in her head. His exact words from 100 mornings at Brown Field Municipal Airport in San Diego. Emma, when you sit down, read left to right. Airspeed. Altitude. Attitude. Heading. Navigation. Engine. In that order. Every time. No exceptions. She read left to right. Airspeed, slowing down. Altitude, 22,000 feet. Attitude, wings level. Good. Heading, straight toward the mountains. Navigation, autopilot warning, 2 minutes to shut off. Engine, normal. She picked up the radio. She pressed the button. Her voice was not shaking. It was not a child's voice in this moment. It was her grandfather's training, coming out of her mouth, 7 years after he first put it there. LA Center, Southwest 1776. Mayday. 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 Full crew down. I have the aircraft. Autopilot shutting off in 2 minutes. San Bernardino Mountains, 9 minutes on current heading. I need vectors now. 156 people on board. Please respond. James Okafor had been an air traffic controller for 14 years. He had heard engines failing. He had heard pilots sick with fear. He had heard everything. This voice stopped him. Not because it was wrong. The radio call was perfect. Every word correct. Every number accurate. It stopped him because it belonged to a child. He looked at his radar screen. Southwest 1776. San Diego to Sacramento. Heading straight for the San Bernardino Mountains. He did not pause. He did not show what he was feeling. Southwest 1776, LA Center. Copy your mayday. Turn left immediately, heading 270, away from the mountains. Tell me your name. Emma Hayes. 13 years old. San Diego. My grandfather is General Robert Hayes. He taught me everything I know. Turning left heading 270, done. James put his hand over his microphone for 1 second. He looked at his supervisor. She's 13. General Hayes' granddaughter. She just made a perfect emergency turn. Get me March Air Reserve Base. Get me everyone. Hand off microphone. Back to work. Copy Emma. Perfect turn. I'm James. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Talk to me. James Okafor had a daughter Emma's age. Her name was also Emma. He did not think about that. He saved that thought for after. 156 people on a Boeing 737. No conscious pilots. Mountains 9 minutes away. One 13-year-old girl in a soccer jersey. And a granola bar, sitting in seat 4B. This is where it gets worse. Pencil teacher's note, Lily. Is this real? Please see me after class. I want to say the scary part was when the plane shook. Or when we could see the mountains out the window. But actually the scary part was looking at Emma through the little cockpit window. She looked so small in that big seat. Her feet barely touched the pedals. And she was just talking on the radio like it was normal. Like she did it every day. That was scarier than the mountains. Because I realized, Emma was the plan. Emma was the whole plan. There was no other plan. I ate the rest of the granola bar. I do not know why. I was not hungry. 2 F-22 Raptor fighter jets left the runway at March Air Reserve Base in 7 minutes flat. Colonel James Morrison was in the lead jet. His call sign was Ace. He had been flying for the Air Force for 19 years. He had flown over Afghanistan, over the Pacific, over California on 100 training missions. He pushed across the Inland Empire. The San Bernardino Mountains were on his left. Southwest 1776 was on his radar. He pulled alongside at a safe distance. Southwest 1776, Raptor flight, March ARB. We have you visual. 2 F-22s on your wings. Tell me your situation. Emma gave him a full report. Aircraft type. Altitude. Speed. Fuel. Autopilot status. Crew status. Her training. All of it. Exactly the way her grandfather had taught her. Ace listened. Then. Good report. Aviation background, what type of aircraft? Piper Cherokee. 47 hours. My grandfather taught me. General Robert Hayes. Retired, NAS Miramar San Diego. Silence. 6 seconds. His co-pilot, Raptor 1. Ace was staring at his instruments. He was not seeing them. General Hayes. Robert Hayes. His son was Colonel David Hayes. The co-pilot's voice got quiet. Ace. I was there. When David went down. 2 years ago. I was his wingman. I was right next to him. And I couldn't. Ace. The plane. I know. I know. He came back. He pressed his radio button. His voice was military. Controlled. But underneath it, 2 years of something was pushing hard against the surface. 1776, what is your name again? Emma Hayes. 8 seconds of silence. Emma, as in Colonel David Hayes' daughter? Yes, sir. Did you know my dad? Ace's hand gripped the control stick. White knuckle. Yes. I knew your dad. He was the best pilot I ever flew with. A pause. Right now I need you to show me you are his daughter. Can you do that? Emma's voice did not shake. Yes, sir. Tell me what you need. General Robert Hayes was 73 years old. He had commanded an entire naval air station. He had flown combat missions. He had buried his son 2 years ago. He was sitting at his kitchen table watching the morning news and drinking coffee. The news broke in. Southwest 1776 declares emergency, unknown passenger at controls. He watched. He sat up straighter. Then the reporter said, the passenger is reported to be a minor, traveling alone. The camera zoomed in on a screen showing the flight manifest. Robert Hayes leaned forward until his face was close to the television. He saw the name. Emma Hayes. Age 13. San Diego. Unaccompanied minor. He stood up. His coffee cup fell over. He did not look at it. He picked up his phone. He dialed a number he had not called in 2 years. This is General Robert Hayes. Retired. Get me March Air Reserve Base right now. A pause. That is my granddaughter on that plane. General Hayes had taught Emma everything. He sat in his kitchen and watched the news and understood what was happening. He did not know whether to be terrified or proud. He was both. Completely both. And the hardest part was still ahead. Pencil teacher's note, Lily Chin, you will tell me this right now. I am not supposed to tell the part about the radio and the F-22s. Emma said it is classified. I do not think a 13-year-old can classify things. But Emma said her grandfather said so, and her grandfather is a general, so I guess that is how that works. What I can tell you is that when the fighter jets showed up outside the window I was very scared. What I can also tell you is that the pilot of the F-22 said something on the radio that made Emma cry. Emma never cries. Not even at sad movies. Not even when her dad died. At least not where I could see. She cried then. Just for a second. Then she stopped and kept flying the plane. I think whatever the F-22 pilot said was the most important thing anyone has ever said to Emma. I do not know what it was. Emma will not tell me. I think it was about her dad. The autopilot had shut off. Emma was now flying the Boeing 737 by hand. Her hands on the controls. Her feet on the rudder pedals. Her eyes moving between the instruments and the runway she could now see in the distance. March Air Reserve Base. Riverside County, California. Runway 32. 13,500 feet of concrete in the California sunshine. James Okafor's voice on the radio. Emma, March ARB is ready for you. Runway 32. Emergency vehicles are standing by. Weather is clear. Wind is calm. It is a beautiful California day, Emma. Perfect day to land a plane. A small pause from Emma. Copy James. Thank you. Then a different voice came on the frequency. A voice Emma had not heard in 2 years. But she would have known it anywhere. Emma. Her hands tightened on the controls. Grandpa. General Robert Hayes had been patched into the radio frequency from March ARB. It had taken 10 minutes of phone calls and people pulling in favors and a retired general saying his granddaughter needed him right now. His voice was steady. The way it had always been steady. But underneath the steadiness was something huge and barely held in place. Emma, I need you to listen to everything I say. Are you ready? Ready, Grandpa. Good girl. Tell me what the altimeter reads. 14,500 feet. Good. Begin your descent. 1,000 feet per minute. Tell me when you are on the approach path. Copy. James Okafor at LA Center was listening to a grandfather talk his granddaughter down from 14,500 feet. He put his hand over his microphone. He took 30 seconds. Then he came back. He said nothing. Because nothing needed saying. The Inland Empire Desert Air did what desert air does sometimes. At 1,200 feet, the wind changed direction in 3 seconds. The plane dropped 80 feet. Fast. Like a floor disappearing. The cabin screamed. In row 4, Lily grabbed her armrests so hard her knuckles went white. The granola bar fell on the floor. Dr. Patricia Walsh did not scream. She faced forward and said in her command voice, "She has it. Everyone stay seated." In the cockpit, Emma pushed the throttle all the way forward. Full power. She pulled the nose up. Her legs were pushing the rudder pedals with everything she had. The plane shook. The engines roared. Her grandfather's voice came in immediately. Steady. Calm. Not a hint of fear. Power up, Emma. Nose up. You have done this before. Brown Field. March 15th, remember? She remembered. That morning at Brown Field Municipal Airport in San Diego. 6 months ago. Her grandfather made her practice wind shear recovery for 2 solid hours. Every time she got it right, he said again. Every time she got it wrong, he said again. She had complained. She was tired. She wanted to go get breakfast. He had said, "You will thank me someday, Emma." She leveled the plane. Back on the approach path. Smooth. Stable. General Hayes spoke again. His voice was completely quiet. "That is my girl." Then Ace Morrison's voice came on. The F-22 pilot. The man on Emma's left wing. "Emma. I need to tell you something." His voice sounded different now. Not military. Just human. "I was your father's wingman. The day he went down. I have spent 2 years thinking about what I could have done differently. Every single day." A pause. "Today I watched Colonel Hayes' daughter recover a Boeing 737 from wind shear at 1,200 feet with her feet barely reaching the rudder pedals." Another pause. "Emma, your father is here. I feel him. Right now. On your wing." His voice cracked on the last words. Just slightly. He put it back together immediately. "Honor to you, little commander. Your father would be so proud. We all are." Emma had 287 people behind her. Her grandfather was on the radio. Her father's wingman was on her left wing. March Air Reserve Base was straight ahead in the California sunshine. She cried. Just once. One tear down her right cheek. She wiped it with the back of her hand. She looked at the runway. Copy Raptor 1. Thank you. A breath. Grandpa, I am going to land this plane now. General Robert Hayes. 73 years old. 31 years of military service. His voice broke completely. Then he put it back together in the same breath. Both things at once. I know you are. Left hand on the throttle. Right hand on the controls. Eyes on the runway. A pause. Your airplane, Emma. Your airplane. Only the sound of engines. Ace Morrison peeled off to the side. His last words before he pulled away. Little commander, bring them home. 500 feet. 300 feet. 200 feet. General Hayes stopped giving instructions. He was just talking to her now. I love you, Emma. You got this. I love you. 100 feet. 50 feet. 20 feet. Complete silence. The wheels touched the runway at March Air Reserve Base in Riverside County, California. Smooth and clean. Like a Sunday morning practice landing at Brown Field with her grandfather watching from the grass. Reverse thrust. Brakes. The plane slowed. Stopped. Silence. Then from seat 4B, Lily Chen, 13 years old, still holding the armrest, started clapping. Then 156 people clapped. Then the entire ground crew on the tarmac started clapping. She sat with her hands still on the controls. She looked at the California sky through the windshield. Blue. Clear. Perfect. Her grandfather was still on the radio. He could not speak. She spoke for both of them. LA Center. Southwest 1776. On the ground. March Air Reserve Base. 156 people. All safe. A pause. Thank you, James. James Okafor covered his microphone. He sat with his hand over it for a full minute. When he came back, his voice was completely steady. Professional. Perfect. Copy Southwest 1776. All safe. A pause. Emma, go find your grandfather. He needs to see you. He took his headset off for the first time in his 14-year career without being asked to. He set it on the desk. He looked at his radar screen. Southwest 1776. A little green dot. Sitting still on the ground at March ARB. 156 souls. All safe. He put his headset back on. He had other planes to guide. Other voices to answer. The sky does not stop moving just because something extraordinary happened in it. But for the rest of his career, on hard days, on days when the job felt impossible, James Okafor would think about a girl named Emma. 13 years old. San Diego. Who picked up a radio at 22,000 feet and said exactly the right words in exactly the right order. He never told anyone her name. He did not need to. It was enough that he knew. 156 people. All safe. But the most important moment of the day had not happened yet. It happened in a parking lot. It did not involve fighter jets or radio calls. It involved a leather flight jacket. And it will break your heart in the best possible way. Pencil teacher's note, Lily. My office. Now. Bring Emma. After Emma landed the plane there were a lot of people with cameras. Emma did not like the cameras. She gave me back my granola bar but I did not want it anymore. Her grandfather drove from Sacramento which takes like 6 hours but he got there in 4. I do not want to know how fast he was driving. He is a general so maybe the speed limit does not apply to him. When he got there he just hugged Emma. He did not say anything. General Robert Hayes, who commanded an entire naval air station, just stood in a parking lot at March Air Force Base and hugged his granddaughter and did not say anything. I thought that was the most important thing I saw all day. More important than the fighter jets. More important than the landing. Just a grandpa hugging his kid. Emma told me later that he smelled like his old leather flight jacket. She said it was the best smell in the world. I believe her. Emma was the last one off the plane. Soccer jersey. Unaccompanied minor tag still around her neck. She stepped out into the California sunshine and squinted. Cameras were everywhere. Reporters. Emergency workers. Air Force personnel. Someone was holding a sign that said, "Thank you." She looked past all of them. Ace Morrison was standing on the tarmac. He was out of his flight gear. He looked like a regular person standing there. Just a man who had been carrying something heavy for 2 years. He looked at Emma. She looked at him. He opened his mouth. He had prepared something to say. Something about her father's valor. About carrying her dad's memory. Something formal and important. Emma spoke first. Thank you for being on my wing. Just that. Ace Morrison felt 2 years of weight shift. Not disappear. Just shift. Become something different. Something lighter. It was an honor. Little commander. She nodded. She walked past him. Lily Chin came running across the tarmac. You are insane. You are completely insane. I cannot believe you did that. Lily. You are 13. Lily. I still have your granola bar. Emma stopped walking. She looked at Lily. She took the granola bar. She took a bite. Thanks. I'm starving. Lily stared at her. Then they both started laughing. The kind of laughing that only comes after something impossible. The kind that starts in your chest and won't stop. A black SUV came through the base gate moving too fast. It stopped near the tarmac. Robert Hayes got out. He was 73 years old. His hair was white. He had 4 stars on his retired uniform collar, which he was not wearing because he had left Sacramento in a hurry and grabbed whatever was nearest. He had his old leather flight jacket on. He looked across the tarmac. He found Emma in the crowd immediately. The way grandparents always find the one person they are looking for. Emma saw him. They walked toward each other. Not running. Walking. Steady. The way you walk when you have both been through something and you are still here. They met in the middle of the parking lot. He put his arms around her. She put her face against his chest. His old leather flight jacket. Best smell in the world. He did not say anything. He was General Robert Hayes. He had commanded thousands of people. He had given orders that moved aircraft across oceans. He had stood at his son's funeral and kept himself together. Right now he had nothing to say. He did not need to say anything. They stood there in the California sunshine at March Air Reserve Base, where her grandfather had once commanded the sky, and where his granddaughter had just landed it. They stood there for a long time. Marcus Johnson, the flight attendant, found Lily standing off to the side. Watching Emma and the general. Still holding the granola bar. Marcus stood next to her. You okay? Lily watched her best friend. She said hold it. I held it. That was all I could do. Marcus looked at Emma and the general standing together in the sunshine. That was enough. Sometimes that is exactly enough. Pencil teacher's note, Lily, this is the most remarkable essay I have ever read. A+, please bring Emma to school on Monday. I have questions. I admire Emma Hayes because she is my best friend. But also because on a Tuesday afternoon over California she did something that most adults could not do. And she did it because her grandfather taught her. And her grandfather taught her because her dad taught him that the sky belongs to everyone who is willing to learn it. Emma says her dad always told her, the sky does not care how old you are. It only cares how ready you are. Emma was ready. I think she has been ready her whole life. She just needed the right Tuesday. Also she still owes me a new granola bar. Peanut butter chocolate chip. She knows what she did. The NTSB filed their report 6 weeks later. Under pilot identification, it said, Emma Hayes. Age 13. San Diego, California. 47 hours flight time. Trained by General Robert Hayes, USAF retired. The FAA sent a letter to General Hayes. It said his granddaughter had shown extraordinary skill beyond her years, and they would like to speak with her about her future in aviation. General Hayes read it twice. Then he called Emma. The FAA wants to talk. About what? Your future. Long pause. Can I finish 8th grade first? General Hayes laughed. It was the first time he had really laughed in 2 years. Deep and real and warm. Yes, you can finish 8th grade first. Colonel Ace Morrison filed a formal commendation with the Air Force. Subject, Emma Hayes. Title, Little Commander, Extraordinary Airmanship in Emergency Conditions. It sits in her file. Next to her father's file. Same last name. Same sky. Lily Chin got an A+ on her essay. She also got detention for sharing classified information. She says it was worth it. Emma agrees. She brought Lily 3 peanut butter chocolate chip granola bars. She was just a kid in seat 4C. Soccer jersey. Unaccompanied minor tag. Half-eaten granola bar. The F-22 called her Little Commander. Her grandfather called her Emma. Her best friend called her completely insane. Her father, somewhere, called her his. The sky did not care how old she was. It only cared how ready she was. She was ready. She was always ready.